Anyway, where we going? Okay, we got another Diddy damn story. So, in addition to Kirk Burroughs, the former co-owner of Bad Boy, taking him to court, remember Sarah Rivers, who was a part of the band? Well, she's suing Diddy too. And she was recently in its documentary that was on Peacock that Diddy's people, apparently Diddy is suing them for $100 million for defamation. And she came out and said that he touched her inappropriately and all the other stuff. Then we had Chopper, who was a part of the band, also saying that that's a lie, that she was out here laying low and spreading the wide, allegedly, with Diddy and Genuine, and a bunch of other people saying that, oh yeah, she was getting passed around like a petri dish. So, that was according to him. But look, she filed the lawsuit, so. And I don't know, I'm kind of side-eyeing a little bit, but like we said, we're supposed to believe the victims, right? But there's nothing wrong with questioning the stuff that comes out from people when they say this. So anyway, let's get into the story. So according to Rolling Stone, they said that Sarah Rivers has filed a $60 million lawsuit against Diddy, alleging the mogul sexually harassed her and stroked her boobs during filming of the hit MTV reality show. Rivers claimed that after she refused Combs' alleged advances, he retaliated against her and blackballed her from the music industry. Well, did he blackball all of the other members? Because we ain't heard from you or them since the show went off the air. And then he came back with Danity Kane, and we already know the mess that transpired with that show and the group. But let's focus on that. Sidebar, whatever happened to Donnie Klang? I hope he ain't touch on him. Donnie was a cutie too, but I was like, I hope you ain't mess with that little white boy. He's so, I mean, I like this little Bob. But yeah, whatever happened to Donnie Klang? Because I used to love me some Donnie Klang back in the day. But anyway, let's get into this. So she said that she described her alleged hellish filming experience in a massive 148-page complaint filed Friday as the look-back window was set to close on otherwise expired claims linked to New York City's Gender Motivated Violence Act. Now, more than a dozen other plaintiffs filed separate claims against Combs on Friday to make the same deadline. Rivers, who went by Sarah Stokes on the show, claims Combs controlled her sleeping schedule, mocked her eating disorder, yelled at her, and forced her to do menial manual labor without pay, including the time, I remember when they had to walk from Manhattan to Brooklyn to bring him back a cheesecake? Remember that? That is in the show. That was actually in the episode. And to this day, I feel like that is the most iconic scene to come out of that show. We still talk about that to this day. Like, that was just bonkers to really think like you would make them do that. But coming from that era, the way I looked at it and the way many people looked at it was, this was just to show how bad you wanted to be famous. But here's the thing. Last time I checked, I ain't no goddamn intern. I'm an artist. So why the hell am I going all the way to Brooklyn to get your ass a damn cheesecake at Junior's? And I've been to that Junior's in Brooklyn to bring back to your ass in Manhattan. Make that make sense. But back in the day, we looked at it as that was just, showing how bad you wanted to be famous. Only to see that their careers ain't really go nowhere. Now, beyond what the suit calls inhumane working conditions, Rivers claims she endured Combs sexually harassing her. The music executive allegedly made humiliating comments about her physical appearance, including the time he purportedly inspected her backside and remarked everything needed to get firmed up. Now, in an encounter Rivers labeled a battery, she accused Combs of cornering her in his recording studio, raising his right arm to block her movement and asking in a low, sensual voice if she needed anything. She claims Combs then ran his left hand across her breast while repeated the phrase, and if she needed anything, let him know. Rivers said that she bolted from the encounter in shock and disbelief. The complaint names more than 24 defendants, including Combs' mother Janice, Universal Music, MTV, and several other Bad Boy officials. Rolling Stone has reached out to Janice Combs, what you called up the prison? So they said that they reached out to him, his mother, and Universal Music. Said, quote, this is yet another example of false claims being filed against Mr. Combs. No matter how many lawsuits are filed, especially by individuals who refuse to put their own names behind their claims, it won't change the fact that Mr. Combs has never S-A'd or S-trafficked anyone, man or woman. Okay, this seems like the same damn post that y'all always post. However, Sarah did put her name on it. So what are you talking about? She's not a Jane Doe. She literally came out and said that he did this to her. She said it in the documentary on Peacock, and now she put it in the form of um a violation. So what are y'all talking about? It's like, stop repeating the same message and actually really put out something. Like, y'all on the budget, like y'all run out of money. You couldn't come up with a whole new statement. So they said Diddy made it known if plaintiff did not sign, the group would not continue. Her lawsuit claims in exchange for her signature, Rivers alleged she received a one-time payment of $25,000. Rivers claims her rejection of Combs' advances, along with her questioning her of contracts and her refusal to fulfill a bad boy directive that she posed for Playboy, led Combs to abruptly fire her and disband the entire group. She alleges that after she was banished from Bad Boy, her attempts to continue her music career were thwarted by Combs. Rivers claimed that she once had an offer on the table from Capitol Records, but later learned that Combs interfered and personally called executives at the label telling them not to sign with her. In addition to Rivers' complaint, Combs was hit with claims from more than a dozen others Friday in the final hours of the GMVA claim revival window. Initially passed in 2000 with a 7-year statute of limitation on claims, the GMVA was amended in 2022 to allow victims to file otherwise time-barred lawsuits during a look-back window spanning March 1st, 2023 to March 1st, 2025. Scores of accusers have sued Combs during this time, starting with Combs' longtime partner, Cassandra Cassie Ventura. In her lawsuit filed November 16, 2023, Cassie cited the GMVA as she claimed Combs subjected her to trafficking, severe beatings, and the R word while acting as her label boss and intimate partner. Aspiring musical artist Seven Guzel filed her own 44-page lawsuit on Friday, alleging Combs groomed and R-worded her on multiple occasions after they first met in 2017. Already a signed artist at the time, Guzel said Combs lavished her with praise, frequently invoked his power to influence her career, and regularly plied her with drugs and alcohol. During the first instance of SA, Combs forcibly compelled plaintiff to perform a baloney wash before violently R-wording her. This occurred without her consent and despite her explicit refusal to engage in any acts with him. Guzel claims she fell into a cycle of abuse with Combs where he would alternate between S-ing and humiliating her and then showering her with excessive kindness. Well, that's what a abuser does. They abuse you and then I'll never do it again, and they shower you with gifts and all that other stuff. It's, you know, one of the pages in the playbook. She also claimed that Combs coerced her into taking pills and rendered her unconsciousness. Guzel says one alleged attack happened at a studio owned by Sony Music in New York, while another took place on a flight. She alleged she woke up on the flight to find Combs R-wording her. According to her lawsuit, Combs' chief of staff, Christina Coram, helped facilitate and cover up the alleged abuse. Yeah, because she's known as the Ghislaine Maxwell of his little empire. What is playing out at the moment still feels very surreal and has put me in a whirlwind and roller coaster of heavy emotions. This is what Guzel told Rolling Stone. To see other victims speak out and describe in detail very similar things that have happened to me is something nobody can prepare you for. It took me months to even read Cassie's lawsuit. It was extremely difficult to process, to say the least. Now, Guzel said she decided to step forward now in the hope she might help other aspiring artists in the music industry, saying, quote, "I hope what I am doing gives young women and men the courage to stand up for themselves," she says. "Artists are a very important part of our society and need to be protected at all costs. What was done by Sean Combs to me, as alleged in my complaint, is unacceptable." End quote. Now, Guzel's lawyer, Jordan Merson, says Combs subjected his client to a pattern of abuse, saying Seven's case is very similar to Cassie. She was up and coming and extremely talented, and Sean Combs said he was taking her under his wing. Instead, he put her through hell for 4 to 5 years. This is what Merson told Rolling Stone, saying that he would subject her to horrific SA, and then he would use his power to keep her in his orbit. Both Corin and Sony were listed as defendants in Guzel's lawsuit. Defendants Oh, they said attempts to reach representatives for both were not immediately successful. So now Mercer filed a second lawsuit on Friday on behalf of 7 other plaintiffs with separate claims against Combs spanning a 20-year period. Well, damn, Diddy, you was busy. Just like it's like anybody that came in your wake, you were just taking advantage of them. So now Latasha Forbes claimed that she was 17 years old in 1994 when Combs allegedly R-worded her at Bad Boy offices in New York. Billy Cummings alleged she was 14 and 15 years old in 1995 when Combs allegedly molested her by grabbing her cootie cat during a video shoot for the Notorious B.I.G. in New York. Now, plaintiff Ian Farron claims Combs violently SA'd him in 2003 when he was 19. Yet another lawsuit filed Friday was entered on behalf of a Jane Doe who alleged she was 16 when Combs allegedly assaulted her in 1993. The plaintiff claims that she had just given birth to a child shortly before the incident, but managed to make her way to what she thought was an audition to be a backup dancer for Combs. She alleged she ended up at a home on Long Island where Combs handed her a drink that she believes was laced. Jane Doe claims that she was rendered completely unconscious and woke up in the back of a moving vehicle hours later with signs that she had been severely damaged and brutalized in ASA, according to the lawsuit. Texas attorney Tony Busby also filed 7 more lawsuits against Combs in the final hours of the GMVA revival window. And one of the new complaints filed on Friday, the lawyer who first sued Combs last October said he was representing a John Doe who was 14 years old in 2006 when Combs allegedly assaulted a minor in a hotel in Manhattan. Now, with the deadline for New York Gender Motivated Violence Act expiring tomorrow, that was like a couple of days ago. Well, it was on the 1st. It's clear that opportunists are rushing to file last-minute meritless claims. This is what Combs' legal team said. Mr. Combs remains confident they will prevail in court. Well, we'll see, because a lot of people are coming out. Some Jane Does and John Does, and some just putting their names out there. So, as I said about all the other cases, we'll just have to see what happens in regards to that. But there's nothing else I can add to that because I wasn't there. But we can believe the victims, but you can take precaution in whether or not what you believe and don't believe. But we'll just have to wait and see until all of this heads to court. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this latest development in Diddy? We talked about a previous story in regards of someone who was a part of his company, the help in creating of the company, Kurt Burrows, his accusations. Now we got Sarah Rivers from the band coming out with her accusations after she just recently made her first declaration of abuse at the hands of the diddler in the Peacock documentary, which he is currently suing them for $100 million. So whatever your thoughts are on this whole situation, let me know in the comments down below.